If you believe that the life of a child, the physical well-being of a child is at stake if parents don't affirm that child's gender identity, how far do you think you'd be willing to go to protect that child? In Ohio, a judge gave grandparents custody of their Ohio transgender teen. This is from CNN. The judge's ruling says, quote, that in addition to receiving custody, the grandparents can petition to change the child's name in court. The teen will now be covered by the grandparents' insurance. The grandparents, rather than the parents, this is all quote from the article, will be the ones to help make medical decisions for the child going forward. But before any hormone treatment is allowed, the court ordered the teen should be evaluated by a psychologist who is not affiliated with the current facility where he is receiving treatment. Now, the American Psychological Association has already made it clear that that if a person feels like they are the opposite sex, they need to be counseled in that and given affirmation in that. It goes on to say a team at the Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center, where the teen has been treated since 2016, advised the court that he should start treatment as soon as possible. Here's the bottom line. Our kids are going to be exposed to these things at the educational level. They're going to be exposed not only in classroom lessons and in the books that are in the library and in the language that's being enforced in the school, where we're expected to identify people according to their chosen pronouns. They're going to be literally exposed to this in schools. Districts are reminded that current interpretation of federal civil rights laws protect the rights of transgender students to use the bathroom of their gender identity if they so choose. So bathrooms, locker rooms, showers. What about overnight trips? When students are separated by gender in school activities, students should be allowed to participate in accordance with their gender identity. When considering an overnight accommodations, students should be assessed on a case-by-case basis, seeking solutions that are inclusive, respectful, and acceptable to the student. We're talking about a situation in which your kids will be most likely exposed to people who are transgender within locker rooms, within bathrooms, on overnight trips, without any kind of notification for you as a parent. How do we respond to this? How can we respond? I just want to give you a few things. First of all, we need to be realistic about where we are. School districts all over the country are adopting this. It's not just going to be secular public schools where we have to make decisions. It's going to be anybody who has a profession that offers goods and services. It's going to be church schools. It's going to be Christian universities. It's going to be counselors. It's going to be pastors. There are going to be major implications to this. And we as the church, we need to be realistic about it. Not so that we get worried, but so that we wake up. Because we need to start asking ourselves some real questions as the church. Are we actually pouring our lives out for something bigger than just the next thing? Because if what we want is just another comfortable life like everybody around us, we need to understand something. We're just going to be sending our kids off to a place where they're going to be indoctrinated and they're not going to understand the Christian worldview. In other words, you're going to have to take some stands. We're going to have to take some stands if we want to actually pass on the culture of God's kingdom to the next generation. It's going to require some guts. Second question, we need to understand this is part of a broader issue. We talked about some of that earlier. And we as Christians, we need to understand that. Third thing, in a world of extremes, we are called to be peacemakers. If we can see the world the way the Lord sees the world, we're going to be radically different than the world. The Lord sees every person as someone worth dying for. And he did it. The purpose and the point of becoming aware and educating ourselves is so that we can develop responses, so that we can speak in a language that people understand, and so that we can begin to actually make a difference in the lives of people around us, and so that we can actually train our kids so that they're ready when they face these things. It's not given to us to cause us to divide our country and to divide ourselves up from other people even more. The only thing that people that we encounter should receive from us is the true love of Jesus. And that's a love that's willing to speak the truth, but it's also a love that has genuine openness and compassion for people around us. Paul wrote in Colossians 4, walk in wisdom toward outsiders, making the best use of your time. Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each person.